alongside Josh Norris of the Ottawa Senators, where it seems as if optimism is the call of the day. Everybody that we've spoken to today, we know that it's been challenging in this organization for the last few seasons. It feels different. It looks different from the outside. Like Elliotte and I are talking here from the back seat. You got a hand on the wheel. What's it like from your point of view?
I think it's kind of similar, honestly. We keep getting asked the same thing. Like there's all this buzz around the city and the fans, and everyone's just excited to kind of come see us play. And I think that's how we feel inside the locker room. And it's not hard to see. I mean, obviously we have a lot of young, really good players, and then you bring in a guy like G, and you bring in Talbot, who's a established goalie, and all of a sudden you have a real team. And you look at us on paper, we're for sure a lot improved, and obviously the first thing that you have to do is play well on the ice. So there's still that we have to prove, but it's looking good right now.
What did you think the offseason was going to be like? Because this was the season of Pierre Dorian. What did you think it was going to be like? Like you leave your exit meetings and you're like, what happens with this team? What did you think?
I don't know, honestly. I remember our exit meeting. We both were kind of chuckling, like saying, let's get this deal done soon.
Yeah.
And he said it pretty confidently. So I left the room feeling good, honestly. And then I spoke to him probably, 3-4 weeks later. So things kind of settled down a little bit. And then he called or talked to my agent or whatever, and had our first discussion. And then a month later, the deal was done, honestly. So, and before that, we'd made some acquisitions and acquired Talbot and DeBrincat, which was honestly, I didn't see that one coming. I don't know if you guys saw that one coming.
not until not long before it happened.
Yeah. So, and then I think once that started to happen, you could sense that something was kind of brewing. And then I signed, and then Timmy signed. Obviously, Drew signed before that, but it was an exciting summer, and I think like Elliotte, you just said, everyone got here 2 weeks early, and that's, especially for the young guys who don't have places here yet, it's typically not something that you do. You kind of just show up a week before or whatever, and I think that just shows how excited everyone was, and that's the word, excitement.
So how many of those players crashed on your living room couch because they needed somewhere to stay for a couple of days?
It was actually pretty good, honestly. Timmy slept at my place a couple nights, but mainly because he didn't have a car yet, so... Yeah, it's good. I'm living by myself again too, and it's a lot of fun. Okay,
so I don't know how much you're out and about when you get back, but what was maybe the first sign when you returned to Ottawa that not just the players were feeling differently, but the fan base was feeling differently?
I don't know. Well, it's been weird the last few years just because of COVID and stuff like that, so we couldn't really interact that much in the public eye, I guess. And you can just tell as soon as we're out, people are stopping you. They're saying hello, saying we're excited, saying this, saying picture, this, that, whatever. And it's a Canadian market, obviously, so people know who you are, but we haven't really felt that yet. And it's just nice to have like human interaction, I guess, with the fans and the outside world. So that's the first thing I noticed.
All right, and you mentioned you talked about your contract. Who knew? Like, who did you tell? Say, hey, I'm signing tomorrow. What's the circle of trust for Josh Norris?
It was a tight crew. Outside of my family, it was Brady, it was Quinn.
Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who else? I think Timmy obviously was in there. Drake and Shabby. So that was kind of the crew, and I said just keep it tight for now. And it was funny. I was talking to Chris Moore, our he does like all the media and stuff like that. And I signed on I think it was a Thursday, and we were going to release it on Friday. And I ended up getting the paper back to him at Thursday at like 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or something. And he's like, no worry, don't worry about it. We'll get the papers out tomorrow, the news out tomorrow, and let you kind of have your full day. And so anyway, I emailed them the contract back. And next thing I know, I'm sitting on my phone at home, and my brother comes knocking on the door. He's like, hey, they just like released the contract, and like all my buddies are texting me. I'm like, what the, I text Chris. I'm like, hey, I thought like tomorrow was the day, you know what I mean? And he's like, oh, sorry, I just got your email. I thought it would be okay. And I was like, yeah, no worries, but maybe a heads up would have been nice or something. My phone starts blowing up, and it was funny, but that's kind of how it happened.
You know, Josh, like it's such a great year for you last year. Like it was fun. We were talking about off mic about how you said you can never be satisfied in this league. And so when you look back at last year and you looked ahead to this year, what did you say I'm going to be better at or I'm going to work at?
I think, in all honesty, I just want to be a more well-rounded player. I think I want to be able to control the play a little bit more, hold on to the puck more. I want to, give the puck to my line mates more and be kind of a, not more of a playmaker, but I know that that's something that I wanted to work on. I have the goal scoring's something that kind of comes naturally, and I'm put in good spots. But yeah, honestly, I think I want to help my line mates out a little bit more, and just like I said, be more of a well-rounded player and be better defensively too. I think at times it was a little inconsistent last year, at least to my standard. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I want to be a really, really good center in this league, and you have to be good on both sides of the puck. So I know it's cliche, but that's, yeah, in my inner core, that's what I wanted to do.
Eric Branson actually talked about that this morning. He said that the team has talked about having the puck more.
Yeah.
So that's a big point of emphasis for you guys?
100%, yeah. I mean, I think you saw us play last year. We're not an easy team to play against. Sure, we weren't, winning a ton of games last year, but I think if you kind of go around the league and ask teams, who was one of the harder teams to play against, or maybe one of the teams that was on the lower end of the standings, but it was always a tough game because we played hard. And I think the next step for us is just more puck possession and controlling the puck more. And that means you don't have to defend as much either, right? So, which is not a fun part of the game. And so if you have it more, then it's more fun and you're probably winning more games. So
we were joking with Cam Talbot that a lot happens in Senators games. There's a lot of
games,
Senators games.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like a lot. There's a lot of offense.
Entertaining games.
Both ways, like
entertaining games to watch.
Like and I know your goal is to make them a little less fun, but the Senators there's a lot of talent in the ice, and there was a lot happening in those games.
There is, yeah. I mean, we'll have to clean that up a little bit this year. It was fun for the time being, but I think we're trying to go in a different direction and play some more consistent hockey. So yeah,
that's disappointing. Because it's just flat out fun to watch you guys play like that. As Elliotte mentioned, high event hockey is always a good time. So here's the one that every player loves. What's the expectation? You've taken strides. Here's Talbot. Here's the Brinket. Claude Giroux comes in. A lot of younger players are going to push at camp. We all know the names. What's the expectation now for this team?
Well, the expectation from the outside versus the inside is probably completely different, at least from my perspective. Yes, we have a better team on paper, more talent, better goaltending. But I think it's easy to look so far ahead and be like, okay, we have to be this team. We have to win this amount of games. We have to push for a playoff spot or a wild card spot or whatever it is. And it's so easy to do that. But I know it's cliche. I've said this a bunch, but we have to stay grounded, especially at the start of the season, and be present and take care of the things that you need to do to win hockey games, because that's, at the end of the day, it's all that matters. We've shot ourselves in the foot, at least both years that I've been here so far, and you're out of the playoff race by November or December. So, like I said, the expectation is very high, and we hold ourselves to a high standard, but we have to take it one day at a time and take care of stuff and take care of business.
Perfect.
That's a good way to end it.
Awesome. Thanks so much
Thanks
for
very much,
Yeah,
Josh.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good luck.
guys.
Have a great season.
Thank you very much.